Hello and welcome back to another episode of Charla Football. I'm your host, as always, Gerardo Tavares, and this is Road to 2026. This will be your one-stop pod, your one-stop shop to anything Mexican national team related. So please check out the two previous episodes and make sure you support the channel, subscribe, like, because that's what's going to help us grow on the road to 2026. So as you all know, we are in the international window. All the players are in the Ciudad de Mexico, en el CAR, el Centro de Alto Rendimiento, where all the players will be meeting up ahead of a few practices and getting to talk to Javier Aguirre, getting to talk to Rafa Marquez as well. So let's just get into the convocados. Let's get into the list of players that have showed up, the list of players that have performed well in Europe, some of them that aren't on this list that are honorable mentions as well, and then all the players in Liga MX. So to start, we're heading to England, to the Premier League, because that is the best league in the world. There is no denying that. And Julian Araujo, he did start against Everton, playing 77 minutes. He did feature in the Carabao Cup in the last 10 minutes, playing against Edson Alvarez. And in this match, honestly, defensively, he was pretty solid. Even though Everton were beating them 2-0, by the time he came off, Everton had basically blown that lead. Like in Everton fashion, they blew a 2-0 lead. Bournemouth ended up winning the game in the last 10 or so minutes of the match. And Julian Araujo, unfortunately, was already substituted out. For me, defensively, he was positionally in the right spots. And in the few times that he did get beat, he was good in making those recovery runs because he is very quick. So I think he will be getting a lot of playing time under El Vasco. But what worries me the most is his offensive progression. Really, he's very quiet in offense, and I think that's just the style of play that Bournemouth play, because they're not very offensive, even though in the last 3 minutes, or in the last few minutes, they did score 3 goals. But throughout basically the whole match, there was nothing in attack, and Julian Araujo was part of that. Now, staying in the Premier League, a player that is not necessarily on the list, but I'm sure Vasco will be looking at him, hasn't been getting too much opportunities at Fulham, is Raul Jimenez. And the reason I bring him up is because he's still 31, I believe. He still has some time under his belt. He could very well make it to 2026, and we have to keep an eye on him, of course. He did play midweek against Birmingham City. He got a goal, even though it was from a penalty, but unfortunately in the Premier League in the last few games, he lost his position. And while last season he did get a lot of playing time, this season he's not really getting some at all. Probably getting the last 10 minutes of each match. And really, in 10 minutes as a striker, it's not enough, especially at a team like Fulham where the chances are scarce. It's really not enough for him to make an impact. But that spot is for the taking, because the Brazilian Rodrigo Muniz, he's honestly not very convincing for Fulham as well. I think Raul Jimenez, he's been performing pretty well in the times that he has come on, given that it's only a few minutes. So I guess, well, to a certain extent, he did create something out of nothing in this game against Ipswich. He got a few shots off on target and forcing a few saves, which is good, which is what you want from a striker. But he needs to be scoring in the moments that he does have. And lastly, staying within the Premier League, the last player we will look at is Edson Alvarez. Of course, he's not called up. He's barely coming back from injury, but he has been playing well. He started at the midweek versus Bournemouth, getting his second back-to-back start under Julian Lopetegui. But unfortunately, the team that he was playing was Manchester City. And as we all know, Manchester City did win the game 3-1 and really didn't leave West Ham any opportunity to grow within the game. He did see 77 minutes, had some good recoveries. Defensively, he was okay, but to the likes of playing against a Manchester City team that was dominant. They were all over them and honestly suffocated West Ham. So I mean, I think they would have done a lot better if he had played the 90. I don't think they would have scored in that last play, the third goal, Erling Haaland's hat-trick. Now moving to Spain in La Liga and La Liga 2, because we got two players playing in Spain. Then we're going to look at Alex Padilla. Alex Padilla, he was benched once again to Aguirre Zabala versus Atletico de Madrid. Like we all know, he played the first two matches against Barcelona and the opening match against Getafe, performing exceptionally well. And what I don't understand from the media is some of these old heads talking about that he shouldn't be called up based off of just two performances in first division. His only two matches in the first division. But the truth is that he's playing in Spain. He's training under one of the best goalkeeping producers in Athletic Bilbao. They've created, I mean, immense talent from the goalkeeping line specifically. And he's seen more minutes than some of the players that are getting called up in this window. So why not bring him up? He's young. He deserves his time. Speaking just based off of opinion, in the way he performs in 1v1 situations, as we saw against Getafe, I think in the situation where Atleti did get their goal, where Angel Correa gets on the ball and he picks it up and goes around the goalkeeper as if he wasn't there. I think Alex Padilla would have done a little bit more, but that's just personally speaking. Let me know what you guys think. I know if you guys saw that play, I think you would agree with me that Alex Padilla would have at least given Angel Correa a little bit more of a difficult time in that situation. Now, moving into the second division of Spain, where Cesar Montes played nothing, played 0 minutes, zero, big fat zero under Almeria. He's only played the first 45 minutes, the first half, where they got scored on twice, and he hasn't seen any playing time since in the past two matches. So I don't necessarily know the situation with Cesar Montes at Almeria. I don't think he should have stayed. He probably could have gone elsewhere, somewhere where he'd gotten guaranteed more time. Not in Mexico. Notice how I said not in Mexico. I think somewhere else in Europe. Now flying to Italia, where the only Mexican player that is performing exceptionally well defensively, I think, is Johan Vasquez. Johan Vasquez, he is a starter, no doubt, in this Genoa team. From what I've seen so far, he seems like one of Genoa's most important defenders. I mean, he breaks the lines, he gets up and down. Even in this situation, in this match against Hellas Verona, yes, they did lose 2-0, but I don't think it was necessarily all his fault or really on him at all. In fact, he probably should have scored as well. There was a situation where he's running into the box, opens the ball out wide. The one of the forwards crosses it back into him, and he hits it off of the bar. So he very well could have. Now we move to the Netherlands, where we have two players that are performing at their peak. They are at their peak level right now, and they have so much more to give. I'm talking about the likes of Santi Jimenez and Irving Lozano. But first, we'll talk about Santi. Santi, of course, he has to be at the Mexican national team camp. He didn't play this weekend because the game against Ajax was postponed, so he didn't see any action this weekend at all. But I mean, in the background, he's has so much going on. I mean, the likes of going to Nottingham Forest, the three bids that were rejected personally by him and his camp. He wants to play in the best leagues, yes, but not fighting relegation. And the fact that he's going to hold on strong to wait for Leverkusen in the winter, which I think will happen at some point, whether it's this winter or next summer. I think it's perfect for him. And then Irving Lozano, the person that everybody's talking about, the fact that he is not called up whatsoever was a shock to a lot of people. And I know that he has his drama behind the scenes. He's not the perfect player, and he hasn't performed in a Mexico jersey since 2018. That's the truth. But the move back to PSV definitely served him well. He is the Mexican player that is in the best form in Europe right now. He played all 90 minutes versus Go Ahead Eagles in a win 3-0. He got on the score sheet. I think this is his fourth goal contribution in 4 matches. He reached 50 goals with PSV, and that was celebrated by the club itself. So overall, I don't know why he's not there. I'm not exactly sure, but the most informed player right now. I want to know what you guys think, though. Let me know if you think he deserves one more run at the national team. Please let me know. Get those comments in. Now, moving out of the top leagues in the world, we are moving to Saudi Arabia, Russia, and Greece. Starting with Russia, starting with Luis Gerardo Chavez. He got 90 minutes versus Orenburg. Solid defensively, offensively, creating some chances, but overall, the club isn't doing too well. I think they only have 2 wins in what they have started in the league so far. So they're not really in good form, meaning that he's probably not in the best form either. Hopefully, with the Mexican national team, it's a different story. Now in Greece, in the Super League, Orbelin Pineda only received 16 minutes under Matias Almeida, which is quite weird. He has been starting for some time, but it looks like he might be losing his position. Whether that's the case or not, I'm not exactly sure. You guys are going to have to go research that yourself because I'm not going to do all that work. He received 16 minutes versus Levadiakos, and the guy that benched him now has a goal. He got a goal in the game, and I'm pretty sure it's pretty much over for him. He's not going to be starting for Athens anymore. Or maybe not. I don't know. And finally, the last player that is playing abroad is Julian Quinones in Saudi Arabia in the Saudi League. He received 88 minutes playing with Aubameyang, playing with Nacho at Al Qadsia, if I pronounce that right. But playing on the wing where we know that is not his strongest suit. He plays much better up top. I think he should be playing with Aubameyang on top. I think they would complement each other perfectly. I mean, what a deadly, strikely, no, What a deadly striking duo right there. And now let's look at all our Liga MX players, starting with the goalkeepers. Luis Angel Malagon playing 90 minutes against Cruz Azul, conceding 4 goals in El Clásico Joven. And honestly, not a really good look. He probably could have done a little bit more, at least on 2 of the goals. Some of them were bangers. You cannot deny that at all. He did make 2 spectacular saves throughout the match, but I mean, not keeping out 4 versus saving 2. I mean, at least it wasn't 6. We all know that America is not going through their brightest moment. They recently lost against Puebla, I believe, and then lost in El Clásico Joven. I think their first loss in who knows how long. I think it's been years since the last time America lost the Clásico Joven. I don't even know. You guys let me know. And then to top it all off, in the 4th goal, just a few minutes before Faravelli scored that absolute peach of a goal, he was making signs to the fans. He was taunting them, showing them that he has 15 titles, or America has 15 titles. But now, bro, you got 4 goals scored on you. I don't even remember the last time he got scored on 4 times. It doesn't happen that often, but it really just paints the picture about how poor this America team is performing. Now, a goalkeeper that is performing well is Talar Rangel. He did keep a clean sheet at the weekend against Juarez, where Chivas won 5-0, and he really didn't have to come up with anything crazy. I think he had a few saves, but overall, Juarez didn't really test them. They got a red card, so it was all Chivas, as you can tell the scoreline. But at the Mexican national team level, he hasn't been tested much. And the one opportunity he did get, I'm not sure if it was his debut or not, but against Uruguay, they put 4 past him. So another goalkeeper that has 4 goals or more scored on him. And from what I'm hearing all throughout the media is that Javier El Vasco Aguirre heavily favors Talar Rangel. For what reason? I'm not exactly sure, but maybe it's just because he's young. Now, moving to our defenders, we got Alan Mosso, who performed beautifully at the weekend. As we all know, he's one of the best right backs offensively in the league. Defensively, I think he's stepped up. He's done a lot better in the past 6 games in the league specifically. He played 76 minutes versus Juarez and has contributed to 3 games in a row. So overall, I think he has to be there. And of course, I think he's in a really good form. The play that really shows off this good form is the play where he scores. I mean, he did get a goal at the weekend against Juarez, and what a way to bag a goal, right? I mean, it's a ball from Cade Cowell from the other side of the pitch, almost like a 40-yard pass. He controls it on the run, and then with his weak foot finishes his past the keeper, getting the 3rd goal for Chivas. And yeah, just kind of the cherry on top for Alamoso and proving as to why he deserves to be in this national team call-up. Now, Israel Reyes played all 90 minutes versus Cruz Azul in El Clásico for America as a 3rd right center back, which isn't something that Jardine typically plays. But he is a center back, so he knows how to perform it exceptionally well. Unfortunately, like I said, America just are not in good form. I don't know what's going on with them, really. I think it's a little bit of campeonitis. So defensively, the whole team is just underperforming, underwhelming, and Reyes is definitely suffering from that. But I think at the Mexican national team level, he'll be just fine. Victor Guzman, the 22-year-old center back from Monterrey, played all 90 minutes versus Toluca, the 2nd best defender in this match versus Toluca with the most recoveries. But he made a horrible mistake. Honestly, if you can call it a mistake, I think he was just badly exposed in a situation where Thiago Volpi kicks it upfield and Monterrey receive a goal from the goal kick, which is very unlikely to see, which you are very unlikely to see at a professional level. You really expect these kind of goals in high school, maybe, or in college ball, but not at the professional level. He was directly involved. He was in the middle of that play because Paulinho was the one that beat him to the header. And Monterrey defensively, they're just in shambles, receiving last-minute goals far too easily. They did it against Tijuana, now doing it against Toluca as well. But one of our better defenders, probably the 2 best defenders in this list at left back. Firstly, Jesus Angulo, who played all 90 minutes versus Pumas, easily Tigres' best defender, winning the most tackles and duels in the match, forcing Chino Huerta to go from his right side, then to the left side, because I'm sure Chino was just tired of having to face against Jesus Angulo. And he even got his 2nd assist, 2nd one consecutively, at least. I mean, if you really want to call it an assist, he passes it to Goriaran, and he shoots it from like 30, 40 yards out. So, I mean, it's really all his goal. But there's no doubt that he is going through a very good moment. But the left back that is going through the best moment is Jesus Gallardo. 90 minutes versus his ex-club in Monterrey in a game against Toluca versus Monterrey, scoring against his ex-club and scoring within the first few minutes of the match with his weak foot as well. What's up with our fullbacks scoring with their weak foots? I don't know. But no doubt the best left back in the league for me. 30 years old. He still has some time to give at the Mexican national team level and at Liga MX level. He is the best left back in the league with 3 goal contributions this season, his 4th in a row if you want to include Leagues Cup. Overall, he is an impressive impact goal form. Now we go to our midfield. Luis Romo, he played his 90 minutes in El Clásico Joven versus America, created good chances defensively, was a rock. He did get an assist on the goal. I don't know if you guys watched the play, but he's coming in from the right side, gets past 2-3 players accidentally. Then he finds a cross into Sepulveda, who finishes it for the lead for Cruz Azul. And then they end up winning 4-1. Fidel Ambriz for Monterrey, who barely made that move from León to Monterrey. He only received 10 minutes against Toluca in a game that we already know they lost. But honestly, he really didn't do anything. Like I said, he just got to Monterrey, so it's going to take him some time. Now, probably my favorite midfielder off the list, if you want to consider him a midfielder, is Eric Lira. We already know the 24-year-old Mexican center back midfielder, libero, as we like to call it in Spanish terms. He played 67 minutes in El Clásico Joven. He got a yellow card. That's why he didn't play the full match. And I'm pretty sure if you're Anselmi, you wouldn't want to risk him. He is probably one of the most solid defenders I've seen so far, and offensively, he comes out pretty accurately from the back. Now moving on to Charlie Rodriguez, a player that I know a lot of us do not like to talk about. He only played 23 minutes versus America, and I think he lost his spot. Or maybe he didn't, but the fact that he didn't start against America in a very important match is very concerning. I don't know what's going on with him. I don't know if maybe he had an injury or picked up something in training, but same thing happened. He didn't start last game for Querétaro. No, actually, he did start last game against Querétaro, but missing out this important match. Very weird, honestly. Weird things going on. But he registered his 2nd assist, if you want to call it that. It really just puts in a good ball into Faravelli, who scores the 4th goal, the cherry on top for Cruz Azul. Sebastian Cordova playing 26 minutes versus Pumas. Didn't see really much of the ball. By this time, it was already 3-1, I believe, for in Tigres' favor. Diego Lainez as well. He was playing in that match for Tigres. He received 70 minutes playing most of the game against Pumas, but pretty much silent. I think most of the attack from Tigres' side came down the middle, came from the left side with Osiel Herrera. So I didn't really see much of Diego Lainez, nothing that really stood or brought to my attention. A player that has been getting so much attention, and rightfully so, is Roberto Alvarado. I think he is one of the most talented Mexican players that we have that isn't playing in Europe specifically. He played all 90 minutes for Suarez, and he left his imprint all over this match. He left his handprints, however you want to call it, all over this match. I think he registered 2 assists, got a goal from a penalty. He recently renewed with Chivas to extend his contract to 2028, which is sad to see because I would like to see him make that move to Europe because I think he has a talent to do so. Like, come on, bro. Come on, little bro. Get some time over there. You're 25 years old. You still have a good amount of future ahead of you. Get some time in Europe. Find an agent that will push you to move out there. I don't know. That's just what I think. But like I said, all over this match, and he is one of the most consistent midfielder forwards in all of Liga MX. He now has 4 goal contributions in the last 2 Liga MX matches. So that just shows his good form right now, the good form that he's been picking up for the past year and a half or so. Now, a player that pains me, the fact that he didn't get any time at all. Probably, I think the only player that didn't receive any minutes from the list was Marcelo Flores. And I understand that he's young, 20 years old, but to be benched by Lainez, to be benched by Antuna, come on. Like, I don't think he deserves that. And I understand they have a little bit more recorrido, if you want to call that, in the league, but Marcelo Flores' his ceiling is much higher than both of these players combined, realistically. So we saw the same thing happen to him in Copa America. Hopefully, Javier El Vasco gives him his time, gives him some starts. Maybe we'll see what happens with him in this window. Chino Huerta in the loss versus Tigres. He played all 90 minutes. Overall, I think he had an okay game. He did get an assist into Funes Mori, which is weird to see him play for Pumas, and it's weird to see him score. I think he has been in pretty bad form, bad shape overall ever since his stint with the Mexican national team. His form just dipped tremendously, but he did pretty well in this match. He was the player with the most dribbles in the match and shots on goal too. But like I mentioned earlier, he did switch from the right side to the left side because Angulo was just giving him a tough time on that side. And now ending with the best Mexican strikers that we have to offer in Liga MX, the famous Henry Martin and Guillermo Martinez. Yeah, I know. The fact that Guillermo Martinez is Funes Mori's bench. And Funes Mori isn't even that good. He's not in his prime anymore. But to be benched to Funes Mori, I'm going to repeat it like 2 more times. Bench to Funes Mori. Bench to Funes Mori. Playing only 31 minutes for Tigres. Why is he in this list? I don't even know myself, really. Probably just because he's the only Mexican striker that has some Mexican national team experience playing a friendly and then playing one Copa America match. Unfortunately for him, when he came on, Tigres scored the third goal. So it was pretty much all wrapped up on a Tigres standpoint. And from Pumas, they really didn't have a chance to respond. And Guillermo Martinez didn't really do anything at all. And then the best Mexican striker that Liga MX has to offer is Henry Martin, playing all 90 minutes for his Cruz Azul, barely getting on the ball. He had the least touches of any player on the field who played 90 minutes, but at least cansó defensas, right? Right. I understand that he has to be on the list. He does have 4 goals and an assist in Liga MX. He is the best Mexican striker in Liga MX. I believe he's in a 4-way tie with other strikers in Liga MX, but the fact that he's the only Mexican that has those numbers, I mean, affairs. So if you guys like my setup, you guys like the Mexico jersey, like the Betis jersey back there, and some of the things that I have in the background to really improve this whole dynamic right here that we have, please like this video, comment, subscribe, help the page grow. We're almost at 100 followers. So if we can get to 100 subscribers, maybe I could do a giveaway too. I'm trying to get to 1K on all social media platforms. So maybe by the end of the year, we can reach that. But please help me out. Now let's get into my favorite part. We're going to get into the probable, predictable, most likely lineup that we're going to see against New Zealand. As you guys might or may not know, Javier Aguirre will be testing all the players. It's already kind of confirmed, I guess you could say. They've been talking about it in the media that he will be using all players this window. So the team that we see against New Zealand will not be the same team that's going to be starting against Canada. But most likely all these players will receive minutes. I hope they do, because that's the point of an international friendly. You don't do these kind of things at major tournaments like Copa America. Now, let me just share my screen here with you guys so you can see what I have that's going to be most likely the formation that he's going to be starting with, the players that he's going to be starting with. We already know that Javier El Vasco Aguirre, he is famous for his 5-3-2, or 3 at the back with dos carrileros, 2 fullbacks going up and down the wings, his 3 midfielders, and then 2 forwards. And I think this is the kind of formation that Mexico needs to be playing, given the profiles that we have. And the best the best I've ever seen the Mexican national team play is when they have 5-3-2 specifically. Throwback to Miguel Herrera days. That's the formation that he played as well. So I don't know why we're trying to be like prime Barcelona playing 4-3-3 when that's not who we are. Now, goalkeeper, I don't know who it could be, honestly. I put Alex Padilla just because I think he's my favorite. He has the highest ceiling out of all 3 players. So I put him there, but it could be Malagon. I'm not going to be mad if it's him. And it could be Rangel. I'm not going to be mad if it's him. So like I said, I really love the goalkeepers that we have, guys. Now, it is rumored that this is the starting defenders that he is going to go with. He really likes Julian Araujo at right back, so he will most likely start. He has been seeing a lot of game time at Bournemouth, so I think he deserves it. Cesar Montes, Eric Lira as like that stopper, last man kind of contención role, and then Vasquez at left center back, and then Gallardo at left back. And I think I really like that defensive position, that defensive formation overall. I think we'll be fine in defense. We've always been fine in defense. It's offensively where we lack. And that's what we're going to get into right now. Let's look at Romo, Chavez, and Alvarado are the 3 players that I think he should start with, just because we really don't have much else going on. Chavez, he is playing in Europe, playing in Russia, getting a lot of game time at Dinamo de Moscow. Romo, I mean, if it's not Edson Alvarez, we already know Romo is his backup. I don't think Fidel Ambris has enough game time under his belt, at least this season. I mean, given that he just made that move to Monterrey, Romo right now is in a good moment, so he can very well, and he played good in the Copa America. So I think he would um, get his time in the center midfield, and then Piojo as that attacking outlet, kind of leaving him to roam free as the number 10, because I think he deserves and should be doing that. Leave Chavez and Romo kind of just holding back, Romo kind of being farther back, giving Chavez and Alvarado a little bit more freedom to go up. And then the striker partnership that a lot of people have been wanting to see, Santi Jimenez has to start. He is the best goal scorer in Europe that we have. So Santi Jimenez, and then Henry Martin, who does a good job at holding up the ball. So at least we can get that out of him. He can hold up the ball for the midfielders because Santi Jimenez isn't that kind of player. He is a player that attacks the space, runs in behind, and can finish in the box. And Henry Martin can't do that. So I think this partnership complement each other. They complement each other very well. So I would like to see it, and I hope that's what Javier Aguirre is kind of looking for. So if you guys like that predicted lineup, let me know. Let me know if you guys would want to put somebody else in, maybe a different formation. I don't know. Let me know in the comments. Mainly, I just want your comments and your likes. That way it can boost my page. So, but thank you guys. I appreciate it. Now, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. This is the road to 2026. So make sure you guys turn on your notifications. You guys keep up with the page because more videos like this are going to be coming, especially every time Mexico are playing. It's going to be a lot of content coming out. Make sure you guys check out all our social media platforms down below. Check out Spotify, YouTube, Instagram, all that good stuff. Help us get to 1K on all social media platforms. Help us get to 100 subscribers on YouTube. Really, let's grow together. Let's make it to 2026 together, guys. I'll see you guys on the next one.